Hey everybody, Rob Maurer here, and today we're going to be taking our first drive with FSD Beta 10.8 in Milwaukee. I have been driving it a little bit back when I was in Iowa, but this will be our first drive on our normal route. As I said earlier this week on the podcast, I have been pretty happy with how 10.8 has been so far from my experience in Iowa, but we're going to give it a shot here. We won't go through the release notes. I'll actually put those down in the description if you want to read through them if you haven't had a chance yet. One thing that I'm most excited for is it seems like there's a little bit better lane assignment in this version, as well as obviously the updated visualization, which we'll get a chance to see. And we got waypoints. So right now I've got like 6 waypoints in here, and we've got a heck of a route through Milwaukee that I'm excited to try. I don't know if it's going to be cohesive, if we'll have to kind of stop and reset on the way, but I tried to set it up, so we're kind of putting ourselves through the downtown Milwaukee ringer. So I guess without further ado, let's just hop into it and we'll see how we do. So it's 7:30 at night, so not quite as late as some of the drives we've had. But we'll see. Should have some pretty decent traffic. It's not letting me engage yet. There we go. We got some visualization, and there we go. All right, so we got our blinker on for no reason yet, but sometimes it's a little... just a little premature. I think I'm going to leave the navigation up. Okay, they're going a little bit slow. I don't know why. They have plenty of room. I'm going to leave the navigation up, I think. Obviously, we can do the full screen, as you guys have seen before. But I think the... Autopilot creeping forward. I think the navigation will be a little bit better use. All right, so we got our first waypoint here. I wanted to make sure that we could get out through this way, and I don't know actually where it's going to take us. So that was a waypoint thing. We hit our first waypoint, and I wanted to go to the right. I'm actually just going to pop over there because we've got plenty of room here. And this is the way I wanted to go, so this is a waypoint thing. Not FSD Beta's fault right there. Unfortunate, because I wanted to see how it would do in this lane. Okay, so I'm not even sure if it checked off that first waypoint for us. So I don't know where it's going to go here. It's going to loop back around. Alright, well. Needs to go here. We have the right of way. So, this will be interesting anyway. I don't know why it's beeping at me. We got a person getting in a car here. We got a pretty tight turn. It's going very fast, but that was fine. I would have slowed down if that person hadn't already closed their door. I don't know if FSD Beta would have done the same. Alright, let's see what it does with this first waypoint. I had to do it because I wanted to get out of pick and save going that direction so that we could take that right turn, and I would... Part of the release notes said that it was doing better on bike lane assignment, which we kind of just had one right there. It was doing okay. But I don't know what it does when it gets to the waypoint, and I don't know how to clear it out. So we're stopping here. No one's behind me yet. I don't want to clear my whole route here. Alright, so I disengaged again. Just because I don't want to deal with figuring this out in the middle of the road. I'm probably going to speed up as I figure this out. Alright, I just cleared out manually the first waypoint, so this should at least take us down to Bradford Beach area. We'll get through that first roundabout. We'll see how it does on this bike lane assignment here. If it gets us... I'm not anticipating great results just because the lines are so bad here. But we'll see how it does, and this will take us down to that normal roundabout and sort of that winding hairpin-esque turn closer to the beach. Since you guys kind of know where I'm going, I'm going to full screen it for a bit, just in case anyone hasn't seen that. And obviously we have the updated visualization in terms of the path planning. No one's behind me, so I'm not going to force this right on red. I don't know why it's not creeping forward and giving it a shot. Although I am getting a little bit bored here, so give it a little tap of the accelerator. We're clear. So I'm still holding the accelerator. Let's see how it does on this lane. So the bike lane's there. It wants to get left, and okay, well, definitely in the wrong lane there. Drop the speed limit down to 30, so I did take over just as it was starting to correct. I think it would have been fine. It obviously saw those cars. And that's a lane assignment issue, which we've had before, but I think it's gotten over to the left. That was a loud car. I think it's gotten over to the left more quickly in the past. Let's see how it does up here, though, because we have another similar situation. My speed offset must not be, looks like I'm about 10% over. Normally that's about what I set it at. So let me try and change that at this light here. For these demos, I like to kind of just go the normal speed. Hopefully that'll save. So with a 4% offset, we usually end up just going a mile an hour over. So anyway, what was going on with those waypoints? With the waypoints, I just had to change them myself. So I think up here we're probably gonna have to do the same thing. I was hoping it would just let me tap the accelerator to kind of continue on to the next waypoint. But no such luck on that. Alright, so we're doing pretty good here. And this is where we've had issues in the past. Maybe with the lead car we won't. And I think there are a lot more cars over in the parking lane, which we've driven down for a bit in the past. Alright, we got a car sort of in the lane here a little bit. We'll see what we do. I'm not doing any accelerator. Yeah, we didn't really have to give it any space. Okay, so doing fine. And then we're coming up on this roundabout. A little bit of hesitation there for some reason. I think part of the release notes said that the stopping logic has been improved. Alright, so we've got our blinker on here, which we shouldn't because we're really carrying through straight. I'm going to try to turn that off. Sometimes that'll be a little bit screwy, but it seems to have been okay there. Oftentimes it'll just force things back on. There it is. Right on cue. What I was saying, though, is I think part of the release notes said that the stopping smoothness has been improved in this version, and so far from driving in Iowa, it has seemed a little bit smoother, but again, different conditions there. And you never know quite how much of that is a bit of a placebo effect. Alright, so we've got a car stopped off on the side of this roundabout, and we seem to... okay, there's a car behind me, so I have to give the accelerator. I don't know why it went past and then decided it wanted to stop. It also gave the wrong signal for the roundabout there, because it was signaling for this turn early. I'm just gonna let it go here, even though this car's probably really pissed off. I do have my new driver stickers on. And we're supposed to turn here. Yep, that was pretty bad. Hopefully not a police officer behind me. That was probably the worst entrance, well, by far the worst entrance into this turn that I've had. And it sure seemed like it would have hit that curb if I didn't take over. So interesting, kind of weird performance there that I haven't seen before. Turning off auto brights that just popped on. Auto brights, not a fan. Dealing with those on the way back from Iowa. They are not great. Alright, so this should turn right here, and then again we're at this waypoint issue, so while we're at this light, I'm gonna edit my trip and remove that one. Hopefully we got it right on red here, great. And I think that's actually gonna work okay. I don't know why it's changing lanes here. That might be on me. I did give it some accelerator. Okay, so I think that was a waypoint thing. It was saying navigate on autopilot complete or navigation complete. Alright, so we do have the 4% offset working now. We're just going a mile over the speed limit. This is the road where usually have pretty good performance. I'm gonna go ahead and scroll up a bit here, just because we do have a car behind us, and most people are gonna be driving at least 5 over on this road. So we'll accommodate and go 3 over here a little bit. But usually autopilot performs well on this. Obviously last time we had the rain with I think 10.6 maybe that was, and got those forced disengagements just because of the weather. But otherwise this road usually pretty good. And this road I haven't actually ever driven on, I don't think, so let's see how we go here. I have driven on this road, I lied, but I have not driven it on autopilot. We've got a pretty sharp left turn at the top here with not great visibility. Drop myself camera. Still recording? Excellent. I'll get that set up here once we come to a stop. Autopilot creeping forward. Man, there's been a lot of excitement on this drive so far. Again, I'll get that set up in a second. I know the audio's probably all messed up too. Might have an opportunity here at this light. And we'll just pop that right back up there. And hopefully that'll stay this time. Quick adjust, and we're back on the road. So we're heading down through downtown Milwaukee again here, down to another roundabout that's generally pretty tricky to handle. We're also going to cut through Brady Street, which we've been on before. Not super often in these videos, but the biggest problem I always have on Brady Street is that it's pretty high pedestrian traffic, and there are crosswalks two crosswalks basically every block. And there's been, in previous versions, just a lot of hesitation. Also got a weird right turn here. I think it's a little bit confused on what it wants to do. Alright. This is the correct lane. It's a no turn on red situation though. So I would like it to kind of pull upward just a little bit, as you can kind of see on the visualization there, a little bit in the middle of the other lane, but there are no cars coming at this moment, so I'll refrain from intervening. If I was just driving myself, I'd obviously just tap it a little bit and get into a better position, which I guess no reason not to. So that's me using the accelerator, obviously, not my hands. Now we've got a green and a lead car, so it should do pretty well on this. And I think the lead car should help with any crosswalks. I don't know if I concluded that statement, but what I was saying is that there's a lot of starting and stopping from the crosswalks in past versions. But kind of each update it seems to do a little bit better on Brady. And here we're doing great, but again, I think a lot of that is because we do have the lead car here. So oftentimes when there's a pedestrian off on the side like that, even if they're not gonna go into the crosswalk, it'll kind of lurch to a stop pretty quickly. Which is fine to be, you know, a little bit cautious as a pedestrian is near a crosswalk. That's, I think, good behavior for it to have. It's just more of the suddenness that's been a problem. Okay, so we're slowing down there because that's the end of the waypoint. I'm going to continue on through here. And just going to quickly remove that one. And hopefully it will put us on, not the route I wanted. We're doing good on Brady Street though. So I am going to adjust, this right turn is good. So we'll let it take that. It's kind of a sharp one. But then I am going to adjust because it's taking us on the interstate and I don't want to do that. That's not super exciting. So here, this is poor logic. Or, oh, maybe not. Oh, this is the turn I don't want to take. I retract my poor logic comment. I thought it was going to take us on this turn here. I'm going to head down this direction and see if that reroutes us into the route that I actually was interested in taking. Which I actually think it has. Said autopilot temporarily unavailable. Don't turn on the brights. We're downtown. Okay. Alright, so we're back on the track of the route I wanted. Anyway, I retracted my poor logic comment from previously because I thought it was taking a different turn. I thought it was putting on the blinker prematurely. It was not. That was my confusion. We have some beautiful Christmas lights. I know you guys don't always say Milwaukee is the prettiest when we do these drives, and that's true on occasion, but there are good things in Milwaukee too. So we're on Water Street right now. This is another main street. If you're ever in Milwaukee and you want to go to the bars, you've got Brady Street, which we just went down, and you've got Water Street. Not this section, but a little bit further south here. Those are going to be the two of the main ones. And then you've got kind of Old World 3rd, which we're actually going to drive pretty close to. Which is close to Fiserv Forum, which is the Milwaukee Bucks NBA team arena, newly built a year or two ago, I guess a couple years now. But as we're talking about this, autopilot doing well. We're going to have a right-hand turn coming up here pretty soon, which is actually going to take us right down the main, I think the main bar street there. Yeah, you guys will get to see. We're going on 6th, not 3rd. So maybe you'll get to see the police station. But as you can see there, that's the roundabout that we're going to take. It'll be kind of interesting. It's sort of a weird setup, as you can probably tell with the visualization. That's where we're heading. And then we're just going to come back around and hit some other things on our way through. Well, hopefully not hit anything. Poor phrasing there. But hit some other destinations on our way through, back through Milwaukee. This has been a exciting drive so far. I don't know why we're stopping here. So that's kind of the weird crosswalk behavior. We seem to be waiting there even though we didn't need to. Generally haven't had issues with that on Water Street. Here we've got a weird turn lane, but it's handling it just fine. Right on red, but we'll have to yield. I'm not going to do the pedal. Again, if I were just driving, I would. But the point of these videos, when I publish these, is not to show you guys how I would drive. That's not fun. It's to see what the beta does and how it handles situations and what it does without intervention. And oftentimes on situations like this, it's, I think, just, if it's not certain, it defaults to waiting for user input, which I think is absolutely the correct way to handle things. Oftentimes when you do apply pressure to the accelerator, path planning is fine and it does what it should. Okay, so there's some weird bike lane stuff, but we got it figured out. But anyway, I think the programming in general is opting for cautiousness in most scenarios right now, and especially situations where it's more of just a confirmation from the driver. So that's third. That's Old World third right there. More bars there if you ever want to go. And then we're going to come up on 6th here and head down to that roundabout. This is kind of getting us into the area that we've been through before with the Harley-Davidson Museum. And I'm not sure... Okay, so we got into that way too early. Kind of confused itself there. It just assumed that that turn lane was for this intersection, which it was not. Pretty close to that curb, but we were fine. Some potholes and stuff here, so this stretch here should be fairly simple for it. And I would say, you know, we obviously had that one really, really bad turn going into that hairpin. It was going too fast, it just didn't seem to know where it wanted to go. That was bad. We had the wrong lane assignment on that first right-hand turn, which happens to us a lot. And then, of course, we had the hectic phone mount fall off, but if my memory serves correctly, aside from those couple of admittedly bad mistakes, it's done pretty well. People will criticize me for saying that. I'm not saying that this drive has been good. I'm just saying, setting those aside, which obviously makes the drive not good inherently, setting those things aside, it's been pretty good. I'm shaking my head because it's unfortunate that I have to say things like that for people to understand. And yet, I find that it happens often. Alright, so now we're heading over this bridge, which we've taken before. We've had some lane assignment troubles here, but I think we should be fine. That's been many versions ago, but yeah, we should be fine since we've got two cars. Sorry, we've got a really loud truck or something by us. But no issues there. I think when we've come onto that road straight on, it's been fine. And again, we had the two lead vehicles helping us out, which makes a difference. So here is where the Harley Museum would be if we took a left. Some more pretty lights over there. But we're gonna switch it up and go straight through here. Hit that roundabout. We'll go through, and then I just kind of have us rerouting back through sort of the heart of downtown. We'll get back on water in the other direction. I think that'll be good. And then I have it hopefully routing us right back into Pick and Save, as long as I didn't accidentally clear out one of our waypoints there. Give us a little speed bump here. Again, just to kind of keep pace with traffic. Speed limit's only 30 here, but it's a road that I wouldn't be surprised to see something faster on. Now we get into the roundabout, so we're slowing down. I'll drop that back down to 30. So no one complains about that. We do have to slightly yield, and we've got a car coming. We should be good here. Great. Now we're in the turn lane though. I don't know where. All right. So I would have taken over there if there were a car by me, and I would have just stopped and let that car go through. Obviously, we just went through an intersection from the right turn only lane, which is not good. It had quite a bit of speed there. Now we're slowing down just because of the waypoints. No one's behind me here, so I'm just going to take over, edit trip, clear that one out. And it's going to reroute us here, but once it does that, I'll re-engage. We should be good. So, great job on the roundabout, and then we kind of ruined that with that last intersection. And it did have quite a bit of pace going through there. I'm not sure why it was being so aggressive. Again, I did lower the speed back down to the speed limit, so it wasn't anything to do with that. We've got a left here with the median. We're good. And then this will be kind of 3rd ward, 5th ward type of area. Well, ish. Autopilot creeping forward, checking for visibility. I'm just gonna let it do it. No cars. Again, if I were just driving myself there, I'd give the accelerator a tap. Guessing we'll kind of see the same thing here. This actually has less visibility. But we do have a 4-way stop, so it should know that it's good. I also don't really understand why it stops in the middle of the intersections on things like that. I think the creeping logic could be improved a bit. Obviously, creeping is a good behavior to do, but sometimes it just kind of creeps out into no man's land, which at that point you kind of just need to make a decision, right? Especially if you're like, what are we doing here? This isn't helping anybody. And it doesn't seem to add, it doesn't really seem to add much visibility, so it's kind of confusing behavior. We do have a car behind us now, but I do have the new driver stickers, so hopefully they're fine with that. And we got a left turn here. It's kind of putting us in the center, which is, yep, not great because that guy wants to turn right, and now we're just kind of blocking. But it's going quickly enough that we don't have to worry about it. See, how is it? That was way better on a road that was not a 4-way stop, actual cross traffic, and the creep was pretty good, where you would actually want to creep to, and then it decided right away that it wanted to go. So that's much better to me than kind of sitting out in the middle of an intersection when the path is clearly visible. The inconsistency there is a little bit strange sometimes. Alright, so this will take us back up northbound through Milwaukee, downtown. Yeah, we were not in 3rd ward. We were further south than I thought. 3rd ward's up here to the north and then a little bit to the east. Not the smoothest stop there, letting that car turn right, but that wasn't exactly how a human would have done it, but it was fine. We are still at that 4% offset now, so we're 1 mile over the speed limit. Okay. Sometimes you get behavior like that too, where it just randomly turns on the blinkers as it's continuing straight on the road, but taking a right bend or a left bend. But that's kind of a confusing intersection there, as are these. Let's see if it stops here. And and it is putting me in the middle of the intersection. Super. I'm gonna back up. Don't love that. There's no one behind me. That was weird. Maybe not technically illegal, but not where you want to stop. I don't know, maybe it is. Alright. Tried to engage there, but we're in the middle of the intersection. And actually, we're coming up on that other waypoint, so let's just clear that out. And we'll get in this lane. And we'll re-engage. Yeah, definitely not the best drive so far. Some good, some bad, but I mean, this is a difficult environment, as we've discussed. I'm sure Tesla Q will take their snippets away from this video and spread them around. But, I mean, I know people might get mad at me posting stuff like, you know, that hairpin turn, whatever. People need to see how the system's going to work, and everyone knows it's not perfect. People should have a good understanding of what to expect, especially as a lot of new people are getting added to the beta. And that's what's most important to me, is just showing, accurately representing what's going on. So we've got some construction here. I'm going to go full screen on the visualization. That might be kind of fun through this. It's got to pick a lane here. It's hesitating, crossing over to the other side of traffic. So this is, I didn't realize this was here, but this is exciting. So we do still have the speed set at 31. We're actually going a little bit under that. It's, you can tell it's a little bit uncertain, but it's doing pretty well here. Awesome. We need to get that way. We need to get that way. Alright, so I guess we're rerouting. I think this happened to us on this exact same spot before. We'll see. It kind of now wants to go back over, which obviously it can't do. I'm going to have to disengage if it tries to do that. Alright, now it seems to be figuring out that it needs to go right here. Which it could do, I think. Yeah. There's no right on red stuff here. We do have a car coming, so... Oh, they turn... Alright, I'm going to put my own blinker on here and... Let's see, bike lane, good. See if it reroutes us here. Not yet. There we go. And okay. Alright, so we've actually had that issue before where it couldn't get over to the left in time. Couldn't figure out to get over to the left in time. Obviously there was plenty of drivable space, but no problem, we're rerouting and it's okay. I would have liked to take the right on red, but that's fine. But, I mean, really good job through the construction. As you guys could probably see, I was not getting nervous, but getting ready to take over it at any second because we've had some... Auto brights again. We've had some situations in the construction zones where it'll do some little bit unexpected things, and it did great through that, even though we had to cross over to the other side of the road and then cross back. Handled that perfectly, so I think this drive is a pretty good representation of what you get with beta. You get some amazing stuff like that where it's perfect in very difficult situations, and then you get things that should be pretty simple, like a right-hand turn with the bike lane, and you get bad lane assignment, you get it driving pretty quickly towards cars, though I'm sure it would have cleared out. And then obviously the worst of it was that hairpin turn. So we've got flashing reds here. We're not actually getting a message that we need to do anything. That car's turning left, so I'm just gonna sit here. Autopilot pause, waiting for our turn. So it's still not prompting me to do anything here. But there is a car there, so I'm gonna go ahead and just tell it what to do. Still doesn't want to go. Now we're okay. No one around, so I'm just letting it figure it out. So previous iterations of FSD Beta, we have had to tap the accelerator to confirm to go through those lights. But then in subsequent versions, we haven't had to do that. And now we do, again. All right, so this is kind of a weird turn. We got a bike lane, but we're also taking a right. Let's do a right on red here. We got it. Not doing anything. Creeping forward. See, that's the thing. It's like it creeps all the way into the road. When at that point, you've already committed, right? Like, if you're making the decision to creep that far, you've already made the decision to put yourself in traffic. So just go. All right, we're heading back north here. We've got a really tricky left turn that we're gonna take. It's right here. And, we've taken it before. I don't know if we've taken it from this direction. See, we get that random blinker that we're turning right here, even though we're just continuing straight. But the turn lane starts really early here, and you can't even really see it too well. See if it gets over into it. It's not. See, we need to be in the turn lane. It's kind of getting over into it now. Alright, so that was okay. I mean, I've had to do better. When I approach that and I'm taking a left here on that turn, we gotta just make sure this is okay. So when I've approached that turn, it's always had issues with that left turn there. When I've approached it at times in the past, if I use the blinker right around the time the turn lane appears, it will actually pop over into there, and then actually does pretty well on that turn, even though there is a crosswalk there, and sometimes the crosswalk screws it up. But in general, that's been a tough one for it, and that was maybe one of the better performances it's given me without having to actually manually put the blinker on and tell it to hop over into that lane. So now we're getting pretty close. We've got basically 2 turns left here to get back to pick and save, and I'm kind of curious if it'll take us into the parking lot. Some places it does, some places it doesn't. Probably just a mapping thing. But based on the routing, I think it's gonna plan to take us in there. We'll see here. We've got this group of pedestrians. They probably shouldn't affect us. And right on in. We'll see if it stops at the stop sign. Probably says complete here. Yeah, a little far back, but good. All right. Let me just go and park. Then I'll give some concluding thoughts here. Maybe we can do a little auto park. I don't know if it's gonna let us shift or reverse. Do I have to do that myself? Oh, we'll see how it does. Okay. Might as well, right? This thing, I would never actually use this because it's so slow. There's no one around, so I'm just gonna let it do its thing. As it's figuring out how it wants to park here. Well, I'm distracted, so let's just see how it does. Alright, that wasn't too bad. You can see we're centered in the spot. So, good parking job, just a little slow. Maybe I was too critical. All right, so let's wrap this up then. First off, this has been a super long video, so I'm assuming most of you aren't here anymore. But for those of you that are, thank you. Appreciate you guys. This is going to be the last video for the year, I think. So that's been a heck of a year. Next year is going to be... Next year there's going to be a lot of exciting things for Tesla. A lot of exciting things, I think, for Tesla Daily that hopefully we'll be able to talk about soon. And... yeah, it's gonna be a good year. So, well, yeah. Okay, so FSD Beta 10.8, obviously I've kind of recapped it as we've gone through. I think very representative of the state of FSD Beta right now. It'll do some mind-blowing things like navigate through that construction zone perfectly. It'll do some really stupid things like try to drive me into the curb on that hairpin. I don't know how it would have made that itself. Sure seemed like we were going for it, but then you get a lot of the in-between stuff where in normal situations it does great. So because of the middle parts, I'm pretty strongly in favor of Tesla rolling this out to the people that have strong safety scores, that have demonstrated the ability to both be in an environment that isn't overly challenging, hopefully, because obviously it's easier to get a high safety score if you're not surrounded by a lot of crazy not obstacles, but a lot of crazy driving environments, particularly high traffic. And then I don't remember where I was going with that, but the second part of what I was trying to say is that I'm in favor of it to the high safety scores because there's a lot of added utility in... Sorry, this this guy's distracting me. Just staring at me. Cool. Let me wrap up my point on the safety score. So, number one, it demonstrates that maybe you're in a fine environment. Number two, it demonstrates that you have the ability to maybe not even be a safe driver, but at least drive in a way with the parameters, with these known parameters, to be successful under those known parameters. Whether you agree if those parameters are good or not, that's up for debate. That's fine. Tesla's got the data showing that they are, but anyway, high safety score shows that you can, figure out and be in an environment that's all fine. So I'm in favor of Tesla continuing to roll this out to people with high safety scores, and a lot of that is because of the middle parts that are boring. It does add a ton of utility. It's pretty easy to understand situations where FSD Beta is not going to work well, right? Like, we have this loop that we go down, and you can kind of, even before we even go down it, you can kind of just point to where the trouble spots are going to be. And I think people can figure that out pretty quickly. And in situations like that, if you don't want to use it, don't use it. Or if you're going to use it, like what I'm doing, just be super ready to take over. And I think that's fine. Like, I wouldn't get myself into those situations if there were a bunch of cars around and I knew it was going to create something dangerous. And we've had situations like that where it's just like, okay, let's get through this and then re-engage. So, yeah, those are kind of my thoughts. Again, emblematic of where we're at right now. Some great stuff, some bad stuff, and a lot of stuff that's, maybe 90% hidden in the middle. That's really great, adds a lot of value, and I think people should be able to have. Yeah, I think that's kind of it. So, once again, congratulations on making it through 2021. It's been a lot of down stuff for the year too. I mean, it's been a great year too, a lot of bad stuff, but hopefully the world can kind of turn a bit of a corner here in 2022, and it'd be nice to have a few more reasons for optimism. We got Tesla, and that's a great reason to be excited. There are a lot of great things. I'm getting into a weird tangent here, but again, I'm assuming most people aren't watching by now, so I guess I'll just roll with it. One of the things I was just talking to a couple of my friends about is that sometimes it's just better to kind of tone out what's going on. I call it a low information diet or a low news diet. Maybe not low information, because information is sort of a cornerstone of productivity, but low news diet. News is just naturally going to amplify things that are negative, and the more closely you follow news in general, the more you're going to be exposed to that negativity, and that can lead to a very negative, pessimistic mindset. So, I mean, it's something I struggle with because, like, part of my job is, tracking news really closely, right? Whether it's macro stuff or Tesla-specific stuff, but a lot of times, like, things are going fine for a lot of people, even good for a lot of people, and if you just focus in on what the news is talking about, it's not going to seem that way. So, as someone that does news, I just think it's important to kind of get that across and reflect on that a bit. But anyway, strange tangent we're getting on here, especially with my down lighting. That's the only place I can put the light. We got some funny comments on that last time I did this lighting setup. Anyway, rambling at this point, so I'm just gonna kind of close it out. But again, just want to say thanks for all the support this year. 2022 is going to be an awesome year. For those of you supporting on Patreon, I really hope that's going to pay off. I mean, I hope it's already paid off, but I think it's going to continue to pay off. If you're interested in joining in that amazing group of people, it's like 1 or 2% of our audience that really makes all this possible. So super appreciative of those people. And if you want to join that crew, you can find the details at patreon.com/Tesla Daily Podcast. Yeah, and then of course, as usual, you can also find me on Twitter at Tesla Podcast. Make sure you're subscribed, signed up for notifications. Do I make the see you next year joke? I guess I will. We'll see you next year for the next episode of Tesla Daily. Thank you.